All right, good morning, folks. This is a rare morning before work video. I know Pound Town is getting warmed up, doing some stretches and doing some hip thrust, Wallace pulls. Try to put a little chicken grease back there, hoping it hurts less, but it always hurts more. So this morning I opened up my messages and I saw this comment from D. Hoffman. Thanks, David. Common People, Black Mirror, Season 7, Episode 1. The story centers around a woman who needs a subscription service to survive. So I stuck this into ChatGPT, of course, and I let it decide on what titles we were going to use. And one of the titles and basic description was, so you lost your job and therefore you couldn't pay for your subscription service, so they shut off your air. Could you imagine that we're getting to a point in society where that could happen to you, where they shut off your air? It's not a hypothetical situation, folks. When these millions of people that are being laid off across the country, once they leave the Death Star, they no longer have the means to provide the subscriptions they need, whether it's your housing subscription, your transportation subscription, or your basic living subscriptions. That's why there are so many people out there just laying on the floor, enjoying the luxury of existing without being connected to anything. And even those people realize that they're screwed. But with that said, let's get into our morning mini video. Not quite as short as a short video, but still short by comparison to my normal content. You ever wake up one day and realize your whole life is behind a paywall? Like suddenly your coffee needs a login and your shower's asking for a subscription code. That's what it feels like now. Just existing comes with hidden fees and terms of service. And if you can't keep up, well, welcome to the free trial of life, which expires the moment your card declines. There's a certain feeling in the seconds before I make a transaction with let's just say a girl, with one of my many women when we go out. They always do the same thing. When the bill comes for anything, they just kind of step aside. And then they look at you straight in the eyes, and then they look down at the machine, wondering if it's going to decline. I've had this uncomfortable moment hundreds, if not thousands of times over the past few years. And it comes down to, does Millennial Steen still have a couple of bucks sitting in his bank account? And with that said, let's get into talking point number one. Let's see. Break down how once free essentials like food, water, shelter, and even air conditioning now feel like luxury items. Compare the way corporations have monetized survival, from rent and groceries to medical care, like a streaming bundle. It truly is. Once you do the onboarding at any corporation, it's like they turn on your life, right? Rent gets paid, the lever for rent comes down, the lever for basic food comes down, and of course the lever for basic health care. And I can tell you it feels like this because the other day when I had to take my friend to the hospital, she's struggling with all three of those. She doesn't have medical care, she can't get food stamps, and well, the rent's got to be paid somehow. But it didn't used to be this bad. Now what we get, we do have packages, right? You are going to be introduced into the copper tier, I would say the steel tier, the bronze tier, whatever tiers you have, whether it's red, white, and blue, whatever it's platinum, gold, whatever, you acknowledge that you're in a tier system. I have what I would consider the second to last tier of housing, right? It's this or a tent. It's considered the lowest level of housing. This is in a good neighborhood. This apartment complex is probably 50 to 60 years old. It's nowhere near the top tier of what it would be considered to be living well, right? nice gated community, maybe right on the beach or in the mountains, 10 bedrooms, 3 floors. You're living at that point. You don't have to go to work every day. You have people who work for you. You've got maids, cooks, you've got a janitor, you've got um, landscaping people at your house full time. Maybe you even have an architect because you're constantly adding onto your house, like the Winchester house, which to the day she went into the grave, she was constantly adding on to the Winchester mansion. That's what I would call tier one living. Now, it isn't just about where you live, it's who you're around. Pros like myself are subjected to other pros who are on the spectrum. We're all a bunch of retards, right? Because if we are smart, we would be living in tier one housing, tier one relationships. But instead, our relationship status is so low that pros don't like other pros. They're too much like us. That's why poor people don't unite, because no one wants to consider themselves to be a tier zero pro. And when we meet other tier zero pros, we tell ourselves, oh man, that's not me. But the reality is, it is you. It is me. We're tier zero. We don't get to hang out with rich people. We don't have connections. We don't go to the best schools. We don't have the business abilities and capital in order to exist among the tier one society of the world. That's why they're called the 1%. We, the bottom percent, I'm talking about the bottom of the 99%, we have no opportunities. We have no one that gives a crap about us. We just exist as wages. And nothing that we do can send us from tier zero citizen to top tier platinum member of planet Earth. Because those guys are called plantation owners. They're the ones that run the Death Star. And if you guys, I know I haven't made this clear, but that reference comes from Claire on the Road when she was talking about her old Amazon warehouse. So if you guys haven't seen the episode, it's really good. She talks about how they have increased surveillance and productivity rules at the Amazon warehouse where she had to work. And her coworker and everyone that works there has tier zero workers, tier zero citizens. That's what they call work. We have all kinds of name for it, and none of it is pleasant. And corporations hate the fact that employees come to work completely demoralized. When I get to work today at 8 and I look around, I'm not going to see a bunch of happy faces. I'm going to see a bunch of Gollum like faces staring at me, gaunt, large eyes, and people who are hungry. Talking point number 2: explore how everything has become a service. Food delivery, healthcare access, job applications, even dating. Highlight the absurdity of living paycheck to paycheck while still being expected to subscribe to 15 things just to keep up. This is it, people. Every day that I sit inside of my little cage, I look out the window and I see people, ordinary people, dropping off food like bees constantly in my neighborhood. And I ask myself, I can't afford DoorDash. How can these people afford DoorDash? The reality is they can't. But most people don't have the time to sit down and spend 45 minutes cooking something, right? They just don't have it. And they don't want to go to the grocery store because chances are most of these people around me have to work from home. Right now, this is working, people. I get paid to do this. This is a job. This is my job before my job. When I get home from work, I have to do this again. It's not if I want to. When you're part time, when your hobby turns into your part time job, you have to do it. Not because you want to, but because you need the money. This week, until I get paid on Friday, this week is going to be paid for with YouTube money. I should have got my YouTube check this morning. I haven't gone and looked yet, but if my card declines today, it's because my YouTube money didn't get deposited into my account. So this week, every single month, I depend on YouTube entirely to feed myself And everything else, every dollar of this week until I get paid again, is paid for by my YouTube check. So, getting back to this example, the absurdity of living paycheck to paycheck isn't an absurdity. It has become normalized. Everyone in America realizes that if you're not making under a certain amount of money, that you too will join the 3-job club. Whether that's a brick and mortar job, that's a work remote job, or it's a driving job, you do have to work more for the essentials. And that to me is where the absurdity starts. Because there isn't a leveling up. When you're down here, you're not going to level up your life up there. There's no way to get there. That's why rich people live behind very tall, strong walls. Because they know that they need protection from the people that they're exploiting, the people that don't like them. Evil Corp is well aware of your disdain for the fact that they don't pay living wages, and intentionally so. Why would you want happy workers when you can have workers who are living in constant fear, anxiety, panic attacks, depression? That's all down here in the tier 0 living. Think of yourself as a bottom deck person on the Titanic. We're all down here. We're all working and we're all trying, and we're not getting anything out of it other than pain, suffering, and misery. That's all that's left for the proletariat. Let's see what it put into our monologue. So yeah, maybe I forgot to subscribe to Exist, but maybe existence shouldn't require a monthly payment plan. I didn't ask to be born into a reality that charges extra for peace, food, and mental stability. But here we are, overdrafted on hope and billed for breathing. Anyway, if this video doesn't go viral, I might have to downgrade my oxygen plan. So like, comment, and subscribe before they repo my lungs. Wow, I wasn't expecting that one, ChatGPT. But I feel you. Turning down your oxygen subscription is pure gold, though. I will leave it at that. Remember, proles, you always have the option to turn down your subscriptions. Down so far that you're not going to have to pay them next month.